even if people don't know where the no, Mayfield says no, Dublin says no, it came from Ballyhea Says No. That's the root of it, and it's endemic. The pavements of all the estates in Mayfield and the north side are covered with one simple word: no.
What I think it was achieved is it was the spark that lit a fire for me. It was the reason that I ran in the general election, and why people like me will keep running to highlight this injustice debt. It's the reason why we have a terrible health service, why we haven't got the housing issue addressed, why we have poor education standards. We just have to keep going on this. The message will eventually get through to people. It is the reason why we're in this mess in the first place. So we have to keep fighting it, and we need to put pressure on the 40 TDs who signed pre-election pledges that they're going to push this issue in the Dáil. So they need to stand up now to the plate.
The campaign has achieved, I think the most important thing it's done is that it's brought the message to everybody in Ireland, to the ordinary person, and broken it down so that we can all understand what's been going on for the last number of years.
You mentioned off camera that it gave you hope. Do you want to expand on that a wee bit?
Jim gave me hope. I'm a bit of a cynical person.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe in a future as such until I met Dermot, and he introduced me to this magnificent group of people who for the last 5 years have kept me going. And I know I speak for a lot of people in our group that they all feel like that as well. I think one of the first reasons I started was I didn't want my children to look at me in time to come and say, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
We can all hold our heads up high and say, "We did something. We made our mark."
I think the campaign has shown what a small group of determined citizens can accomplish by understanding issues that people are telling them are beyond them, that the Taoiseach of the day says they don't need to trouble themselves about. Our grandchildren's future has essentially been sold down the river. We've managed to support a challenge to that in the Supreme Court that's still going through, that we're optimistic on the outcome. We've managed to talk and gain respect in Frankfurt with the ECB, in Brussels with the Commission, in Dublin with the new head of the Irish Central Bank. So we know that the issues are understood. We know that the issues are not simply issues of one small village in Cork. And as long as we continue to tweet, as long as we continue to talk, as long as we continue to discuss, this issue stays alive. As long as our grandchildren continue to pay down this debt, the issue is alive and we have to take action. Proud to have been part of it.
It has united the whole country. Little do they know, out of the water protest, most of us from Dublin Says No, Tralee Says No, all came from Ballyhea. It's only 3 years ago since I came here, and it woke me from my sleep and has changed my perspective of Ireland and how Ireland is run. And it's cronyism, it's corruption, and we've been left down by our supposed leaders in this country. And Ireland, from our fishery to our oil to our gas, now they want our water. We've been sold out, and but people, Ballyhea have put a spark to the people of Ireland and woke up people in Ireland, and it's only getting stronger. Community groups are getting stronger, and it's only the start. It's not the finish. It's only the start.
I think that it was one of the first campaigns 5 years ago to kind of highlight the cutbacks on local communities, rural and urban. I think the water charges kind of followed on from that. I think the local community here in Dermot O'Flynn, they got on Al Jazeera, they got on German television. They just showed that small communities, it's a two-tier system in the EU, that Europe is becoming increasingly unequal and bureaucratic, and local democracy is being ignored after the Nice treaties, the Lisbon treaties, with the fiscal austerity treaty, and it's great to see local communities meet up here, and just highlight to the young people about what we'll be facing, Okay.
Over the years, like we met Dermot and Pat through the household charge campaign, the home water taxes, and Occupy and all that stuff was happening at the same time when this march started up. But I think that they've been the inspiration that has kept us all going. So you get tired over the years and you say, what am I doing this for? Nobody is listening. And then you come up here and you see people with heart and spirit and compassion, and it just gives you a bit of energy. And Diarmuid said something one time, we were up here at a march, and he said that in years to come people will talk about what was Ireland like, and we had a health service, and we had a decent education service, and we had roads and hospitals, we had, you know, and people were happy enough-ish. And then the child on his lap was going to say, and what happened, and why didn't somebody do something about it? And he said that day, he said, at least I tried. And I think we're all going to be able to say, at least we tried.
It kept the bank debt on the national agenda when everybody wanted to ignore it, especially the government. They just wanted it all to go away, nice and quietly. I said, when Enda was elected and he went out to Davos and said, we all parted. You have to make, if you want to have the people paying the debt, you've got to make them feel that they owe the debt. So he just turned on the people and made them it their fault. So they were going to pay it, so he was going to give them a reason why they were going to pay it. And we weren't going to have that. We weren't going to roll over. We took to the road.
And is there a next step for Ballyhea?
Oh, next step, yeah. Behind the scenes as such, with politicians like Catherine Murphy, with Luke Flanagan in Europe, John Collins, who's in the middle of the Supreme Court hearing, waiting for judgment. So we're not going to let it go.
Well, thanks.
It's hard to even sum it up, Marcus. They've just been an incredible source of inspiration for so many people, not just in Ireland but across Europe, to show what a small community can do. I think they have totally laid to rest the myth that the Irish don't protest. You know, apparently the Greeks heard chanting, "We are not Ireland, we will resist." Well, clearly resistance is very, very fertile in Ballyhea and Charleville. And apart from that, they were one of the most constant sources of information, challenging some of the spin and the myths that were put out by the government about the promissory notes, about the so-called deals that they struck on our behalf. And they remain the only group from Ireland that officially requested or demanded a debt write-down, that they did directly to the ECB in Frankfurt. So I just thank you, Ballyhea. Thank you a billion.
Next step is to politically put pressure on elected members of Dáil Éireann, and to put pressures on members of the members of the European Parliament to make sure that this issue doesn't go away until this debt goes away. And also what Diarmuid can do. Diarmuid is working out in the European Parliament with myself. He's covering the the Economics Committee, and with his help out there, I will be able to highlight what's going on every day that committee is held.
The elections show what it's achieved. There's been a seismic rift in Irish politics. When you see the three main parties holding just over 50% of the vote, that's what one small village has done. One tiny village of a church, a shop, a couple of houses, and they've ripped Ireland apart, they've ripped the political process apart, and they've literally changed Ireland for the betterment, for the future.
Well, I think what it has done is it has kept in sharp focus just exactly what did happen, and I think it helped people to kind of understand by the various initiatives, the visits to the European Parliament, the visits to the Central Bank. I think all of that was very important, just to say, look, this hasn't gone away, and there's something we can do about this. And I've got enormous respect for the people for the last 5 years in Ballyhea who've come out every single solitary Sunday, and I've been privileged to join them on a few occasions. So I think they've done us all a great service.
I think that Ballyhea campaign has brought Ireland together. It's helped Irish people rediscover what they really are, that the country belongs to them, that a country is composed of its citizens. It's brought justice back into the discussion again, and compassion for others. We owe them an invaluable debt.
Well, I just want to agree with what was said earlier there, that it has shone a light on the reality of what is happening with the banking industry. And I did listen to Enda Kenny recently during his campaign, and he mentioned that the central bank was an independent body, and I think that's a very important word, because what does independent mean? It also means private. He has no control, the government have no control, they're doing what they like. The banking inquiry proved it. We need to get to the bottom of the fraud that has been committed on the Irish people.
What does Ballyhea mean to you?
Ballyhea means friendship, because I met wonderful people. Ballyhea means support. Ballyhea meant someplace to come and woke me up to the reality, I suppose, and that we have to stand up. I'm fighting my own battle, they're fighting, but it's all the one thing: who controls us, basically, I believe.
It wasn't the politicians that started it, it was people like Dermot on the grassroots.
So what the Ballyhea campaign has meant for me, well, I've travelled down on numerous occasions to Ballyhea because they've been such an inspiration in terms of highlighting the big picture, which I think is the bank debt and the promissory note deal. I admire their determination, I admire the fact that they've been to Europe, they have done this off their own bat, they've paid for it themselves, they continue to inspire various groups around the country, and when I have filmed other groups around the country, they have all said that it was Ballyhea that had inspired them initially, that they were the root cause of the whole thing. Okay, so I would like to just pass on my congratulations to Ballyhea and thanks for inspiring me and everybody else.
The first day that we were out, this is all we had, except it said Ballyhea says no to bondholder bailout. There's still a little bit of that in the end of it. That was the only sign we had. No, there's no. When we get the money back, we have something achieved.